Yo, what's up, guys? Raptors lose a frustrating game in game two of the NBA playoffs, guys, to the Cleveland Cavaliers, 115-105, guys. Just a really frustrating game today by the Raptors, guys. A game that I felt if the Raptors just limited their mistakes tonight, would have had a very good possibility of winning game two tonight against the Cavs, guys. But unfortunately, tonight, as we saw, the Raptors shot themselves in the foot too many times tonight offensively. Couldn't get enough stops defensively, guys. It was a really frustrating situation. And then you have Brandon Ingram doing what he did tonight, guys. Just an absolute inexcusable performance by Brandon Ingram, having 7 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists on 3 of 15 shooting, including 5 turnovers, especially after last game, shooting only 9 shots, guys, saying he needs the ball more, wants to be more involved in the offense. And this is the performance Brandon Ingram puts up tonight for the Raptors in a game that if he had actually made half of his shots tonight, there's a good possibility the Raptors come out and win this basketball game tonight. But once again, you see guys like Donovan Mitchell and James Harden having a field day, dictating play, doing whatever they want on the court, looking way too comfortable out there, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It's just really frustrating to say the least. Donovan Mitchell back-to-back games with 30 points, having 37 and 5 on 13 of 23 shooting. You had Harden with 28 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists on 9 of 14 shooting. Then you had Mobley with 25, 8 and 2 guys on 11 of 13 shooting tonight. So those 3 guys there were the X factor in this game tonight, and it drives me nuts seeing how many second chance opportunities the Cavs had tonight. It drove me nuts how easily the Raptors were predictable on offense. Cleveland, who doesn't have a great defensive team, they're not a great defensive team. The Raptors are a better defensive team than the Cleveland Cavaliers, but the Raptors are having more problems against Cleveland's defense than Cleveland is against ours. It's incredible. We're watching Dean Wade be a problem for Brandon Ingram on the offensive side of the ball for the Raptors. It's incredible to me, man, how difficult the Raptors made this game for themselves, how many times they shot themselves in the foot. You know what I mean, guys? In that first quarter alone, the Raptors in that first quarter got outscored 26-19. Cleveland was having a field day in that first quarter. Jakob Poeltl played 9 minutes in this game tonight. Even a guy that I questioned starting this game tonight, after Colin Murray Boyles had a spectacular game last game, he had another solid game tonight, CMB, guys, and I felt that CMB starting tonight would have been a little bit better of a matchup situation for the Raptors. Put Scotty on James Harden, which ended up happening after later in the game because RJ Barrett and Jakob were once again getting torched again in the first quarter. RJ cannot guard Mitchell or Harden. It's very clear as day that he struggles against those 2 ball handlers. It's very evident that Scotty Barnes has to be on one of them. Not having Emmanuel quickly as well for game 2 tonight, with this hamstring injury of his. Hopefully he's ready to go for game 3. Jamal Shaw played 37 minutes tonight. Did some okay things defensively, but offensively, Jamal, last game he was really solid. Tonight he was a little bit flat, guys, only having 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting tonight. So you're not going to get the same production from every guy, but you got some great production from your bench tonight. You had guys like Mamu, Jacoby, CMB, like I mentioned there, guys like CMB had 8 at half. Mamu had 8 at half. Jacoby had 6 at half. AJ Lawson had 2. So the Raptors bench was way more productive than Cleveland's bench, but it was Cleveland starters doing most of the work, setting the screen and rolls. Harden and Mitchell were making some absolutely ridiculous shots. The Raptors got some good stops defensively, but those guys there were just making some incredible shots. A couple of times they were getting doubled, but they were still making the shots. It was incredible to me how Harden and Mitchell could do whatever they want on the offense side of the ball in these last 2 games. The Raptors have to find a way to stop switching defensively and have to make those 2 uncomfortable, not only on offense, but on defense as well for the Cavs. Christ almighty, man. James Harden is not a great defender. We all know the history of James Harden and how bad he is defensively. But I'm watching guys like Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, of course. They're not being assertive enough. They're not being sharp enough. They're just not doing the right things on offense and taking advantage, of the mismatches, of the open space, open shots in general. It's really frustrating, man. The Raptors could have easily had won this game tonight if they were just a little bit less careless with the basketball tonight. 22 bloody turnovers tonight. That's inexcusable, man. You know, when you have defensive liabilities like Jakob, RJ, you know, BI, and then you have 21 turnovers, what do you expect? You know, you give Cleveland so many opportunities. Sure, you'll get a couple stops here and there, but sooner or later, the Cavs are going to score again. You know, like the Raptors were able to cut it down single digits multiple times in this game, guys. They cut it down to 5 points at one time, and then a couple of straight possessions, the Raptors turn the ball over. Like, you have one play where Jamal Sheard brings up the basketball, and he just loses it uncontested. Like, those are the type of plays. They're uncontested plays, unforced errors that cost you in the playoffs. You know, it's the NBA playoffs, man. Everything is magnified. Every possession matters. Every point matters. And these guys here have clearly not grasped that in the first 2 games of the playoffs, man. You have to take advantage of every possession in the game. And the Raptors have not been doing that through the first 2 games. Like, you have your best players, like Brandon and Scotty Barnes, like going like minus 15 and 16. Like, it's not good enough. They have to perform better when they come home to Toronto. These first 2 games have not been good enough, to say the least, guys. So, you know, you had RJ, who played well offensively in this game. Sure, he is an absolute liability defensively. I totally get that. So I understand that RJ is only really good on one side of the basketball. They tried tonight. The Raptors battled tonight. They were resilient. They were down multiple scores tonight. They were down at 16 at one point. They went on a 20-11 run in the third quarter. The first 6 to 7 minutes of that third quarter, I think we could all agree the Raptors just weren't good enough. You know, then they tightened up defensively. You put CMB in the game. Jakob didn't even start the second half. Played 9 minutes in total tonight. You just knew that Jakob wasn't going to be able to be effective in this game tonight, and maybe the rest of the series. I really think Colin Murray-Boyles needs to be playing over 30 minutes plus the rest of this series. Has to start next game as well. Put Scotty Barnes on either Mitchell or Harden, and you got to make some changes with defenses and stuff like that, and all other things, guys. You know, but Darko did some good things. You know, making adjustments. You know, changing some schemes defensively as well. He did some okay things as well. Like we saw Scotty go on a Harden after, guys. You know, Scotty was able to lock up Harden a little bit in this game today, but obviously he's not going to be able to do it the entire game. But like I said, when you got 3 guys for a liability defensively, it's going to be an uphill battle tonight. Guys like Jacoby, CMB, and Shed, these guys here have shown, and Mamu as well, have shown that the moment is not too big for them. These guys here really stepped it up tonight. You know, Jacoby had 14. Murray-Boyles had 17 on 6 of 10 shooting. Mamu had 12 on 5 of 8 shooting. So those 3 guys there, man, they were very, very effective tonight for the Toronto Raptors, guys. You know, having over 40 points, 42 points tonight off the bench by those 3 guys alone. Coach Darko had a 7-man rotation tonight, pretty much. AJ Lawson and Jakob barely played in this game tonight. AJ only played 5 minutes. Jakob only played 9. So if you can get guys like Jacoby, CMB, and Jamal Sheard maybe coming off the bench next game if Emmanuel Quickly's ready to go next game, because he's a bit of a better floor spacer, I would say. Could space up the floor better, has the 3-point threat as well, and would come off the bench and not have to play as many minutes, you know, like he did tonight, guys. You know, but unfortunately, again tonight, we saw Cleveland offensively just look way too comfortable. You know, Cleveland got to their spots, were able to get second chance opportunities in this game, guys. It's really frustrating. They shot 53% from the field, the Cavs. You know, 32% from three-point line. Not the best game shooting-wise for the Cavs. You know, you had guys like Max Strus, who was really quiet tonight, only having 6 points tonight. Last game, he had like 17. So the Raptors were able to limit some things. But unfortunately, the points in the paint, everything else, Cleveland started to dominate, guys. Cleveland had 52 points in the paint. Even though we had more points in the paint, 62 points in the paint, the Raptors, unfortunately, guys, with the turnovers, guys, so Cleveland was able to accumulate 22 points off turnovers. The Raptors were able to accumulate 19 points off turnovers, where Cleveland had 14 turnovers. But, guys, 8 more turnovers. The Raptors had 7 in one bloody quarter in the first quarter, for Christ's sakes. These are things that shot them in the foot tonight. Costly errors, costly decisions, bad turnovers, not getting enough stops defensively, not staying on your man, getting caught on the switches too much. Cleveland knows. Set the pick and roll, especially when Jakob was playing for those 9 minutes. Just get him to come out to the perimeter, and boom, you got him. Like, it was really frustrating tonight, guys. Even though the Raptors shot 51% from the field, 27% from three-point line, guys. 14 and 17 from free throws. Like I've been saying, if you guys have been watching me all season. I have been saying it over and over again. Free throws are an absolute must make. You have to be making 90% of your free throws in the playoffs. Those are just easy buckets, easy points. If the Raptors only missed 3 tonight, but you got to consider these things. You got to make your free throws. And the Raptors weren't even driving to the lane, and a BI whose shot was not falling tonight didn't get to the line enough, didn't draw enough fouls tonight. And that's really frustrating after all the shit he said in the press conference, putting a lot of pressure on him and his teammates, asking all these questions, questioning the scheme by Coach Darko, and then he does what he does tonight, man. I cannot believe how bad he was tonight. One of his worst performances I felt in a Raptors jersey, one of the worst performances probably in his career tonight, Brandon Ingram tonight. And the Raptors almost had a chance to win. If he was just average tonight, the Raptors maybe win this ball game, guys. Come back home to Toronto, 1-1 apiece. But we've seen the flaws with the Raptors, guys. We've seen it with this team all year, guys, when they play better opponents. Mitchell and Harden are the 2 best players in this series right now, and they're showing it right now. They're a step above everybody else, dictating play, getting their shots when they want to. Like Mitchell, man, with those scoop shots of his, you can't defend those. They're absolutely so hard to defend. Incredible move by him as well, doing it a couple times in this game today. But you could see the level of play with Mitchell and Harden. It's really frustrating. B.I. even had trouble guarding Mobley at times, so it's like when you have Scotty on Harden, you're in no man's land with B.I. guarding a guy like Mobley. That's why CMB's got to play more. Don't understand why he sat a little bit in the fourth quarter, especially RJ as well. Those guys got to play deep into the fourth, if not the whole bloody quarter, for Christ's sakes, man. But like I said, guys, really frustrating loss tonight by the Raptors. So many things that you could point to in this game tonight, guys. So the Raptors had 3 fast break points last game, had 16 tonight. I felt the Raptors were a lot better with their efficiency at times this game, having some better opportunities, moving the ball quicker, did get some stops defensively, were better tonight in this game, showed fight, showed resiliency in this game. This game was a lot more better than it was in game 1 the other night, guys. The Raptors were out of this game by the halfway through the third quarter tonight. This was a way better effort. You got some great performances tonight by your younger players like Shed. Obviously not offensively, of course, but Jacoby, obviously CMB, Mamu. These guys here were really productive. We're going to need them in these 2 games in Toronto, of course. First game, the game 3 is on Thursday here in Toronto, guys. That's going to be a do-or-die game, basically. If the Raptors lose that game, you're down 3-0. This series is basically a wash now, guys, if the Raptors go down 3-0. But do you expect Brandon Ingram to have 7 points on 3-15 shooting? No. He needs to play a lot better, of course. Needs to be more efficient in his game. Draw the fouls, get to the free throw line. Scotty's got to be a little bit more efficient, I feel, in the first half. Did finish off with 25, 8, and 2 on 11 of 13. Sorry, that was Mobley. 26 points, guys, on 11 19 shooting. But still at the same time, though, I feel Scotty's got to get way more aggressive, get in the post, draw fouls, get to the free throw line. He's such a strong player, just like CMB. Get to the free throw line. I want to be seeing 25 to 30 free throws a game, for God's sakes. Like, honestly, Cleveland had, what did they have? 22 free throws, guys, compared to the Raptors. The Raptors got to get to the line more, I feel. Draw the fouls more, limit the turnovers, be more efficient with the basketball, and get more stops defensively, guys. Honestly, if the Raptors can do those things going into the next game, and if Brandon Ingram isn't hurting you, with this missing his shots all the time, and obviously the Raptors getting more stops defensively would be a lot better, of course. We will have to see what adjustments they make for Thursday night's game, guys. But you saw some positive things tonight in this game, like CMB. This guy here, he can play and playoff basketball. He's ready for these type of moments. You can see in the last 2 games, he has really showed what a strong player is, what a solid player he is. Colin Murray Bowles, even Jacoby Walter as well. Same with Mamu. These guys here have shown, like I mentioned, the moment isn't too big for them, and they're ready to perform in these games. Of course, last game, obviously, Mamu wasn't great, but he came back with a way better, solid game tonight. Same with RJ Barrett. Scotty was better tonight as well. Was a little bit quiet in the first half. Needed to be more involved through 48 minutes, I feel, guys. Jakob Poeltl, I don't know how much minutes he's going to get for the rest of this series, guys, but the way he played tonight, the way he was in game 1 as well, I feel his minutes might be limited the rest of this series, guys. Hopefully, Quickly's back as well, guys. Hopefully, the Raptors play a way better basketball game, less careless with the basketball, play less sloppy as a team in general, play with way more efficiency. The problem is, though, that we know the Raptors are better on the road than they are at home now. Hopefully, the fortune switch now for the playoffs. Hopefully, Scotiabank Arena is loud like we have seen in the past in the playoffs, guys, with that championship run. Scotiabank Arena was absolutely electric, to say at least. We're going to need that again on Thursday night, guys. We're going to need to back this team. And hopefully, to God, they can cut this series back down to 2-1 and limit Harden and limit Mitchell, guys, and really find a way to make their shots and protect the basketball, guys. But a really, really frustrating loss tonight for the Raptors. They had it in their hands, man. They could have won this game tonight. Just a couple things tonight didn't go their way. That was mostly self-inflicted tonight, guys. But we'll love to hear guys' thoughts and opinions on this game tonight, guys. So like this video, subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Go Raptors, go as always, guys. See you guys on the next episode of Raptors Unfiltered. Ciao, guys.